Welcome once again to Breakfast Central on the 26th. Now, while many prepared for the celebration of Christ's birthday, it was a night of terror for some residents of Mushu village in Bokkos local government area of Plateau State, who were killed by assailants who stormed the community during the wee hours of Saturday night.
Properties were destroyed and food items carted away. As of yesterday, there were more dead bodies discovered by the security team on the ground while looking for displaced or missing persons during the attack. The death toll is rumored to surpass 50 persons. Plateau State Governor Mutfwang on Monday said that at least 50 people were killed by yet-to-be-identified gunmen in several communities in the Mangu and Bokkos local government areas of the state. Joining us this morning is News Central's correspondent, Chizoba Anyonwe. Good morning, Chizoba. Thank you for joining us. We'd like you to talk to us based on, first of all, it's really such a, it's such a terrible news to hear. That's not the greatest way to celebrate Christmas. So talk to us about the mood in Jos. What is the mood like? I mean, we're in Lagos here, and there's a lot of sadness when we talk about Plateau State, but what is the actual mood in Jos like?
Okay, thank you for having me. Well, I would say that it's a sorrowful moment on the plateau, generally, not just because it's in Bokkos or in Ladi. It's a state. It's a state. The state is actually mourning. It's a sober moment. It's a sober Christmas, and some people have tagged it as a dark Christmas on the plateau. In fact, this was also seen yesterday, where the general officer commanding was making a statement at an event by the chief of the army staff to honor troops of Operation Safe Haven for what they do in trying to maintain peace and security on the plateau. So there was a luncheon. So in his remarks, he actually took off about 4 agenda from the entire program of the event, which included the parts where a comedian should come up to ease tension and all that. So there was also a time that people would have danced, especially the troops, cultural dance display. All those were taken off the program to reflect the mood of the moment. So it was a very sad incident on the plateau, and everybody is sad about it.
Yeah, I mean, after being sad, do they understand how much, they maybe have failed the people of Plateau State? And I'm talking about the security agencies now. Everybody's sad, but their responsibility is not to be sad. They should be protecting the people of Plateau State. And so what is the information that you have so far on how those, people, of course, lost their lives in a state that should have some level of security presence?
All right. Well, yes, not just to be sad and not doing anything, but if anybody would say the security operatives are not doing anything, then I won't say the person is being fair. I'm not holding briefs for anyone or any agency, but we on the plateau know that in recent past, it hasn't been this peaceful. Unfortunately, it happened again on the eve of Christmas in the past 48, 72 hours. It's been a bad moment, sad one at that. But before now, it was something else. And so the coming on board of the new GOC, the Commissioner of Police and other security agencies on the plateau made the situation lesser than what it used to be. And like people would say, security is everyone's business. And I remember sometimes security chiefs would say that even if they deploy all the men, officers, and troops of the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Police Force, and all other sister agencies everywhere. In fact, if you have to plant them one in every home or community and all that, they won't still be enough. And the sad part in this incident is that we understood that these attacks were carried out simultaneously. So once a distress call is gotten and troops move over to that place, before they are done containing the incident, they get another distress call, it's happening in another community, and so they keep moving like that. So I think that was what gave rise to this particular incident, where we had cause of of casualties, and of course the wounded that are receiving treatment in the hospital.
All right. Also, I'd like to ask if there's been any press release. You've talked about the sadness that you feel, and a lot of the items have been removed that were removed from the festivities, quote unquote. Has there been any official press release from the Nigerian army and from the government as well?
Well, like I said earlier, it's a very sensitive matter they are handling, and well, the governor was also at the event yesterday at the luncheon by the chief of the army staff, and he condemned in totality this act. And he has said that it is senseless, in quotes, it is stupid and uncalled for. It was unprovoked. And he's sad about it. And he has said that his government, his administration would stop at nothing in making sure that, one, the perpetrators of this dastardly act are brought to book and made to face justice. That was also what the GOC said in his remarks to that they are not stopping. And according to the GOC, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, from the bodies recovered, especially for the perpetrators of these crimes, details have been gotten from them, pockets and all that. And they have said that they are working on that, whatever documents, details they have gotten from these people to make sure that they go behind those that are still being haunted. So I don't think anybody's sleeping. The police actually has not come out with any press statements as such. The army has also not come out with anyone, and also the state government. But these are what we have them on record saying yesterday at the event in Mangu.
Yeah, well, we've, of course, over time had different explanations. But the Nigerian government also has had, it's either, headers, farmers clash, or it is bandits, or it's kidnappers, or it's unknown gunmen. Is there any information as to what, this one might, be? Of course, who might be responsible for these atrocities?
Well, like I also said, there's no particular reason given for this, and details are still very, very sketchy. But you should also understand that when things like this happen, everybody has their own say, But it is left for the state actors, the major state actors in this matter, to give you what they that have been on ground have perceived to be the cause or what led to the incidents. So, but usually on the plateau, especially, the issue of land grabbing is there. Cattle rustling is also there. Underaged grazing is also there. Night grazing, farmland destructions, and all those. So all these many factors have been placed and pointed as major triggers of these incidents, And again, in the past, retaliations keep coming up here and there. Attacks come out today, and tomorrow some other persons would also perpetrate some other crime somewhere, So we cannot say for sure what exactly the cause of this recent one is until we get a valid statement from the state actors, like I said earlier, the Nigerian army, the Nigerian police force, and probably the state government, to know what actually caused this last one.
All right. On a final note, I hear that the weather is incredibly cold there. How's the weather been, and do you think that this in any way affects the people who have sort of survived this unfortunate incidents? Are they also getting some aftercare help? Are they getting any care post this traumatic incident?
Well, yeah, as for the weather, as at earlier, like 5 hours back, where I stay, it's about 16 degrees. It's very, very cold actually in Jos. But as the day goes by, it also tends to get warmer by the day. Well, I'm not wearing any jackets here because I am indoors, and I am somehow getting used to the weather, and I usually don't easily get cold, but it's actually cold. From my voice, maybe you'd perceive the weather acting up there. Yeah, but for these other people in Bokkos, Ladi, and all those areas, they are usually more cold than for some of us here in Jos. And I know that from time to time, relief materials are sent to these people to help cushion the effect of this, because most of them, their houses are always burnt, property looted, also burnt, and all that. So they actually are left with nothing per se. I remember sometime in the past, like 2-3 months back, the GOC of the 3 Division in Jos, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, had to take some relief materials, including duvets, blankets, mattresses, and some edible stuff to them to help cushion the effect. But it is sad that these things keep happening once in a while. And for records, for some 5 months now, we've not heard of anything like this. And so this one, I guess that's why it threw everyone off balance, because no one expected it, especially on the eve of Christmas.
Yeah, well.
Chizoba Anyanwe, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to hear some positive news. The most positive news we can hear at this point would be that the perpetrators of this dastardly act have been brought to book, and we hope that the survivors can find some relief in this time. The whole country mourns with Plateau State.
Thank you so much for having me. That's also our prayer here on the Plateau.
All right. And now we're also joined this morning by Barrister Daliop Solomon Mwantiri. He is the National President of Berom Youth Molder Association, BYM. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning for having me on this network.
All right. It's a very sad story that we're looking at. It's not just a story, it's a sad reality of what's happening in Plateau State and how the nation has been thrown into mourning, unfortunately, on the eve of Christmas. 2 weeks ago, roughly 2-3 weeks ago, Vice President Kashim Shettima hosted a traditional ruler from Plateau State and assured them that the president will be restoring security to the region. Would you say that the people of Plateau State believe that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is capable of restoring security to the state?
Of course, from the onset of the regime or leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Plateau State, for the first time, have experienced and witnessed unprecedented security intervention. Why I'm saying this is that before then, or before the assumption of office of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there will be attacks on the Plateau, 7 to 8 and 11 hours attack without security intervention. And in some locations, there will be heavy presence of security, but of course, the bandits, the Fulani militants, and other cohorts will have their field day. But of course, upon his assumption of office, we've seen what is called rapid response to any distress call. And of course, I must commend the wonderful thought of the Nigerian Army or the Nigeria Security Service, particularly the Chief of Defense Staff, for sending or deploying Major General Abdusalam Abubakar to Plateau, because the man has been performing wonderfully well. And we cannot say that there is no rapid response, as contrary to what was happening before. So the security are up and doing, and we believe in the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because even the attackers have also attested to this fact that they are not having it easy on the Plateau. But of course, it's so unfortunate that this one, took a very surprising dimension. That, of course, there have been a lot of early warning signals as to the planned attacks, the movement of the bandits and the Fulani militants, and security will always be proactive. But of course, they may have taken it to be like the regular or the usual early warning signals, and this one took them by surprise, even though the terrain, the road network were actually poor for rapid security intervention. And just as Chizoba early pointed out, you know, these people came in mass. The attackers came in mass. And the locations they were stationed are actually, you know, spread across, you know, most of the Fulani settlements. So, of course, they will be attacking this location. Security will go, you know, and respond, you know, to the distress calls. The attackers will spread themselves to other locations. So before the security will respond to another one, you know, so it was very overwhelming on the part of security. I must commend, you know, the dogged and the resolute position they took, you know, in going after the attackers. Of course, we also appreciate for the first time that attackers have been arrested, in while prosecuting this heinous, heinous crime, which we believe in the administration of Bola Tinubu that he is wonderfully doing well. And then, of course, having seen how he has started, which is giving us a very good hope, we want to believe that much more will be seen.
All right.
From this administration.
I'd like to just piggyback of what you've said. You have said that you've expressed confidence in the current administration of President Bola Tinubu and how the rapid response to the insecurity challenges has definitely improved since he stepped into office. I'd just like to quickly confirm that this position that you're sharing is a position of majority of the citizens in Plateau State. That's one. And two, you also did talk about how the attack was happening simultaneously in different local government areas at the same time. And of course, you mentioned this being one of the reasons why it was difficult for the security operatives to be able to apprehend them in the moment or render the offered defense or the required defense that the people of Plateau need. Would you say, is this the first time that they are attacking with this format?
I didn't get you.
All right. So would you say that this is the first time? Is this the first time that the attackers are using the format of attacking different communities at the same time? Is this the first time? Because you did give that as one of the reasons why it was difficult for the armed forces to defend the people of Plateau State. So is this the first time they are using this approach? And this belief that you have in the current administration, is it a belief that is shared by majority of the citizens in Plateau State?
Well, everyone is entitled to his opinion, but of course, being a frontline advocate, witnessing things by myself, because any incident that happens, I don't just sit in the comfort of my zone and then begin to call. I go to the scene. Yesterday, I was in Bokkos and Barikiladi, witnessing the mass burial of some of the people killed. Even at the moment, there are still people that will be buried this morning because of how tense the atmosphere was. And then, of course, it wasn't palatable for people to go and gather the corpses for mass burial because security were actually overwhelmed. And then, of course, this is not the first time Plateau State is witnessing this kind of widespread attack, because it had happened in Mangu, Pasa local government, sometime last year, where the whole place was invaded by the armed bandits and Fulani militants. And then, of course, it lasted for over 11 hours. And there was no, any rapid response from the part of the security. But of course, this time around, we are seeing it, despite the fact that we lost, just day before yesterday, we lost not less than 150 people because the death toll keep rising. And then as at 10 p.m. last night, we have reliably gathered the information that it is 150 people killed, mostly women and children, who have rested their minds to celebrate the Christmas. But of course, we can see that it has become a dark one. And then, of course, the people of Plateau, having seen that it has never happened like this in a Christmas period, that we will have a dark Christmas like this. And so it is very, very appalling. And then this one will actually make a plateau man to begin to have a rethink and, of course, develop a kind of reservation as to whether the security are up and doing. But being a frontline advocate that have been in touch with the GOC on every 5 minutes, we've been in talking terms with him. And then, of course, the people have also seen the rapid response of the security, because as at a night before yesterday, there was a particular community called Maichimbi also, where the people that escaped from Mayanga, from Ruhurum, and another village, they actually rushed to that place as safe haven for them. And then, of course, the attackers were still coming after them. Immediately, I placed a call on the GOC that could he send security, and in less than 5 minutes, security were at that location and were able to rescue. Otherwise, there would have been more massacre than what we have already, recorded. So,
right,
of course,
hold on, please.
Everybody can have his or her own opinion, can also have his or her own reservation. But being on ground, and by the grace of God, as one of the channels through which some of these early warning signals are given out, I want to believe the large population of Plateau will be or will share the same opinion with mine, that indeed the security actually responded rapidly. And then, of course, the situation would have been worse than what we are having now, if not because of the rapid response of the security. Because we must also appreciate this.
Hold on. Kindly hold on. I just want us to get some clarity, here, and because good that you've mentioned that the death toll is about 150. There's, possibilities that it might still rise, because of those who have been injured. But can you clarify exactly which communities were attacked? And besides Bokkos, is there any other communities that were attacked, in this recent attack? And of course, that maybe, distracted the army from being able to, respond rapidly, to all these places. That's one. And then two, you commend the army for quick response. How long did this attack take? 150 people dead in one night doesn't happen in 2 minutes or in 3 minutes. So how long did this attack take? And, in what would you say was the response time of the Nigerian army to these people, that we're talking about now?
Of course, the attack started like 6:45 or thereabout p.m. evening before yesterday. And it started in a community in a village called Hurum. And of course, immediately it started, we received distress calls and related same to the security agent, who swung into action and moved to the location. On getting to the location, we received a call from neighboring villages that the security have repelled the attackers and then they have spread. And then, of course, prior to that moment, of course, the early warning signal given out at about 4:45 p.m. of that same day, it was to the effect that there have been particular locations where the bandits and the Fulani militants have been stationed. And among those locations, we have the popular, terrorist enclave on the plateau, known as Mahanga. We also have another one in the hill of Were in Barikiladi, but Mahanga is in Riom local government. We have in Josho. We have also another one in Dajingomna, somewhere around Mushu in Bokkos local government area in the state. And then, of course, having mentioned in that early warning signal that the bandits have been stationed in those locations, which the security believes that possibly assume that with the early warning signal, there won't be anything. So when they started like that, they spread to other locations. And then, of course, night caught up, with the rapid response of the security agents. And then from there, other locations started witnessing the simultaneous attacks, which took place in Mayanga, in Maitumbi, and other locations. And on the plateau, just Bokkos and Mangu, we have a record of not less than 11 to 12 villages that were simultaneously attacked. And about 10 to 11 p.m., when it is believed that security have already taken charge, the bandits sprung up a surprising attack on NTV station. And then in that particular location, before the security could mobilize to go to that place, we had not less than 10 people killed. So of course, that is how the whole situation, occurred.
So what then is the impressive rapid response that you're talking about? Because if we can lose 150 people, you said it started sometime around 6:45, and then you're talking now about 10 p.m. or around 10 p.m. That's a 4-hour difference. So what is the quick response that you are talking about? And what says what is the assurance that you have that it cannot happen again next weekend, and we can, Plateau State will lose another 150 people in those 4 hours? In what ways, are you saying that there's been improvement? Because that's the thing that I'm still not getting. If we can still lose 150 Nigerians in a 3-4 hour period, what ways have we improved in, security response? And you've mentioned a couple of places in Plateau State, a couple of communities in Plateau State where these bandits or these terrorists are located. So does it mean that you are aware of where they're located, but the Nigerian army is not aware?
Nigerian army cannot deny this fact that they are not aware of the location of these bandits, because in the early warning signal message that was given out virally, they were the first people that received it, both the police, the army, and also other sister agencies. And then, of course, it is a known fact that there are locations where security were not deployed, believing that the state is witnessing, a relative peace. Because over 2 months or thereabout, we've not had any coordinated attack on the plateau, except the bandits will come and hit and then run back. But this time around, we actually, are surprised too to see that they hit, and then we're having this death toll. And most of the villages and communities that we're having this quite number of people killed had no security presence as at the time or prior to these attacks. It was after it happened, and then of course these people came in number and surrounded the whole villages. And then of course people had already rested their minds that they're going to have a peaceful Christmas until when the unknown befall them. And then because before the security could respond, the damage has already been occasioned. And I want to believe that is the reason why we are having this number. And actually not actually holding brief for the security. But of course, I must commend those ones that responded rapidly. But there are also other locations where security, maybe they were just few in number or so. Their attack started, their attention was drawn upon, but there was no response. And this one, I can tell that this is what happened in NTV and also in Butura Company, where the security were called upon that this is what is happening, and there was no swift response from their onset until when it had already happened before they reached that side. Those are other facts on the other side of the story that we also have available with us.
So you agree?
That's the reason why we are having.
So you agree that the security agencies were not without fault, because it did seem at the start of conversation that you were of the position that they did their best in ensuring that they protected the lives and citizens of Nigerians. Is that what you're saying now? That you agree that they were not completely on their best, they didn't put their best foot forward. Is that what you're saying now?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Just to also clarify, where were you? I'm sure that this must have hit home personally. I'd like to find out, where were you when the attacks happened? Do you have family members, loved ones in Bokkos? And did you know anyone who was directly impacted by this unfortunate incident?
Wow. I have friends and colleagues within the Bokkos axis, within Barkiladi, people we have rapport with over time. But of course, some of them were affected. Some of them were engulfed by the attack, and then some are in the hospital now. But of course, I don't have direct relations that are living there because I am not from Barkiladi, I'm not from Bokkos. But of course, by my own position as the national president of the Birom Youth, I covered most of these locations, particularly Barkiladi and part of Bokkos where my people live there. But of course, some of the Birom people were killed, some of the Ron people, some of the Magabul people were killed in those locations. And then, of course, I've been in Jos, but of course, by my networks, are people that any incident that happens, immediately or shortly before it happens, we get distress calls as to the movement and then as to the movement of the bandits and the Fulani militants, and we get the information across to the relevant bodies, particularly the security agencies. And that's why I tell you earlier that I've been in touch with the GOC, giving him details as to what is happening, and then they needed intervention that is required in those locations. And then, of course, in every the calls I place on the GOC, I will also receive calls from those distressed locations that indeed they have seen security have responded swiftly. But in other locations that we couldn't get the information on time, or in other locations that we got the information, but of course the damage has already been done, it was quite too late, to actually save the situation. And then, of course, I must also reiterate this. The security agents that are stationed on ground should be alive, should rise up and be seen to be alive to their responsibility. Because it has never happened on the plateau that in just 4 hours of attacks, we are having this kind of number of people killed.
Barrister Dalio, you speak for the people of Birom, I think.
And also from people, because my people also live in Bokkos.
Okay.
My people also live in Mangu.
Okay. Well, what would you say that the people of these areas are saying to President Bola Tinubu this morning, as we speak? What would their message be to him? Because well, let's hear you first. What's their message to him? Is it to commend him for the great work that he's done, or something else?
Yeah, of the truth, having commended the good work of President Bola Tinubu and also the executive governor of Plateau State, the situation, the humanitarian situation on the plateau is very, very pathetic. People who were living independently have become internally displaced persons in their own land.
So what exactly are you commending? So help us understand what exactly you are commending. Because we are talking about 150 Nigerian lives that were taken away on Christmas night. So what exactly is the commendation, to the governor of Plateau State and to the president? What is the commendation about?
The governor of Plateau State and the president are believed to be seasoned politicians. And then on the plateau, I tell you, the people of Plateau will witness, will bear me witness. Whenever there will be attack previously, people will see the attackers, and in the presence of the security, there are times that security even actively participated in the perpetration of this heinous crime.
Right.
We have written petitions, but of course, this time around, we've not heard of any security agents participating in the attack. And then President Bola Tinubu, courtesy his wife, the first lady, have come with an intervention of the sort of...
Dalio, we have to wrap up here. Thank you very much for joining us today. We, of course, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to those in Plateau State. We expect more from the president and from the governor, but we will bring you in again to share your thoughts as things progress. Thanks for your time. All right. Still this morning, really pathetic story there. We, of course, continue conversations. Gunmen suspected to be members of Boko Haram in Nigeria's northeast have also attacked Mainoka village in the outskirts of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, yesterday. At about 2 p.m., the suspected Boko Haram members burnt down a clinic at Mainok, Kaga local government area of Borno State. The clinic is said to be the only health facility providing services to the people in the community. It is a community on Maiduguri to Kano Highway. And, of course, we have a quick report to share with you on this incident.
Both state government, local government, agencies na Allah partners with action against hunger so manga masu sama so suran unit and be chirazin da sai ya longoltiya sai ya bonyana andero isa wadwan bana asari muko sasa shi na adi follon adima na dono jama'a kurun samayin ma suru bula adi samai so na adi falbiyan darama gadi ba ceya na ceya sai ben disha
audrak suran da ana da ganagi dai atin ne ya da kuma da yake da sura da auga da ci da na ba dai kuma da awu shi ba ado andiro kala kan bayyaro amma jin sai da minister of health an bar shi mai kuma an da asisarin da isan ganjin da raga sau
ne ya wala wa jaba ne shakko kamiya da romo jimba sai suro bulai ruli tare shari ma da bana rotudin da sambiya yaro kam kalala yare yan kojin no so no suna bana suriye na harin tudin sawari do ala su da baraza gamna yan godo yan kam do ne am do and ya bana zain so be duk so ala su da sandiro leta da yaren awdo ne murada tuna so lokto bana ban andiro ala ita ga.
That's a very sad update that we have there. The minor community, I mean, that's a very terrible update. If the only healthcare facility that's available for the citizens has been, of course, torched. I'm hoping that we can get to the root of this conversation and find out who the perpetrators are and be able to guarantee security. Countries, the strength of a country's stability is tested by how secure the citizens feel. And right now, I don't think they feel as secure as they should. It's been a lot of conversations we've had in the first hour of the show. Let's share with you a recap of the conversations we've had this morning, and then we'll share with you what's coming up next.